Hello and welcome to this review of Beam's 8-Star Kentucky Whiskey, a blend. This is 80 proof. It was introduced in 1976. Well, this is the current recipe, which is 80% grain neutral spirits and 20% straight Kentucky whiskey. Alright, used to be, I think when it first came out in 1976, it was 72 point something, and then they went to 75. Straight up 75% grain neutral spirits, and then in the last year or two it's gone to the 4 parts grain neutral spirits and 1 part whiskey. Right, I know there's some collector sites on the internet where they show an older version of this bottle from around 1980 or 83, and you'd have to pay a lot for an unopened bottle. When I got it, the edges here, the flaps were kind of coming up, so I glued them down. That kind of made it look worse, really. I didn't want the label to peel off, but this was special ordered for me by Matherns. It actually came in the next day. I was in that store and I asked the manager, I said, who sells Beam? And he told me the distributor, I think. I can't remember who it was. He said, why, you want to order something? I said, yeah, you ever heard of Beam's 8-Star? No. And I told him, got to spell it out, E-I-G-H-T, don't write number 8. Okay, he said, I'll call him, and the next day it came in. So I was quick. Distilled and bottled by Kentucky Springs Distilling Company, Clermont and Frankfort, Kentucky. That's Jim Beam Distilling, part of Beam-Suntory. This is not listed on their website. They do list one of their blended whiskeys, Kessler, but I believe they have more. They just, for whatever reason, there's a lot of things they don't list, even on their PDF files. It's odd. It's a gold label, sort of like metallic gold with the red and black and white trim. It's pretty basic. Not bad looking though. It's got the 8-Star brand and the little circle there, bottled in Kentucky. And I don't know what the 8-Star signifies, okay? You might know something about why it would be called 8-Star. Right. They sell this at Dorignac's in Metairie, but only in the 1.75 milliliter plastic bottle, and I didn't want that much of it. Okay, so $7.99 plus tax for this. People have been asking me, when are you going to do the 8-Star? When are you going to do the 8-Star? So here it is. It's got a code here, L6041FFE 067271459. Could that be Lawrenceburg? No, it's saying distilled and bottled. So it can't be coming from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It's straight from Kentucky. It's not brought in and then they just bottle it. Is it the 41st day of 2006? 2016, I mean to say. I don't know. There's another code down here. And it's 0695H1P09:14. And the bottle's saying 15 at the bottom. 2015? I don't know. That's a mystery to me. Never had it. You might recall back in 2016 I did a review of a 375 milliliter plastic bottle of the Beam's 8-Star. The previous expression, the previous version, which was the 7525. And I was surprised by it because I was expecting it to be terrible. And I didn't know if it was really from Jim Beam or somebody just using this name or something. But I did some research and yes, it was started by them. It's always been owned by them. And the notes, I wrote some notes and I forgot to bring them out here. It was talking about, there was some tasting notes on some liquor store website, and they were saying the aroma was going to be of caramel, and oak. They gave it a whole big detailed description. I was saying, where did they get this from? It could have just been some notes from their distributor that gave it to the liquor store. I don't know. I'm gonna just go here. I don't need those notes really. I'll just give you what I think of it. Alcohol eggs. It's not too dark amber. It's on the lighter side of amber, not as light as, say, I think the Jim Beam. The Jim Beam bourbon is lighter, the original bourbon. Okay, so it's aged at least 2 years, the whiskeys. They have to give an age statement if it's less than 4, okay? Most of your blended whiskeys, however, will be around 36 months, not just 24 months. Although to be a bourbon, it has to be 2 years, okay? So that's the minimum in new oak barrels, white oak barrels. Another interesting thing is that on one of the liquor store websites, they were saying that they were calling this a blended bourbon, but it doesn't say that on the bottle. It just says Kentucky whiskey. The aroma is very light. It's just light, faint, pale. I guess you can't smell pale, but you know, very mild, low level caramel, sugar, standard whiskey. That Jim Beam mossiness, greenwood, mold, like Spanish moss type thing. And they could just be using the Beam bourbon and taking some that's only been aged 2 years or a little bit more and mixing it with the grain neutral spirits. I really don't know, but it does have a faint, it is reminiscent of the Jim Beam bourbon, but just all lighter than that. Some people might find that more pleasant. They might say, I'd rather that. Some opinions people gave me of the Jim Beam wasn't too favorable. I think it's all right. I like it. The taste is the same way. The 75-25, the previous expression had more flavor, a richer flavor, a little more candy flavor. This one is just very mild. It's mild, general whiskey, you know, generalized. You know what that probably tastes like if you're watching this review. Some mild wood notes. Mild. Feel a burn though. That's, you know, the grain neutral spirits aren't going to have any flavor or aroma. They're odorless and flavorless, but they're going to have the alcohol. A light body. Light sugar, light caramel, light nuttiness. I mean, that description off that website, that was reaching a little bit. It'd be like volume, and if you raise the volume real high, you might pick up a lot of that, what they were saying. Maybe some dried flowers, some pecan shell. It finishes, kind of closes out with the woodiness and the mossiness, that Jim Beam mossiness fading off and that greenwood fading off. Yeah, honestly, there's nothing off or bad about it. I was reading some reviews, just not liquor stores, just independent reviews, and in one website was saying, I can't remember. You can just look it up. It was saying, oh, it's so terrible. They gave it a 25 out of 100 in F. He gave all these horrendous descriptions. None of that I'm picking up here, okay? Then another website, the guy was saying, yeah, it's pretty good. He was giving he said, I would definitely buy it again. He was talking about how they drank it down in Disney World. They were at the Disney World thing in a resort. And he said, then I took a little nap on my friend's porch for a while, and then I finished it later. He said, maybe I passed out on his porch. I don't know. He was probably just joking, but he said, I would recommend it, and he said he would buy it again. So you get these extreme opinions. It's the kind of thing where you got to try it yourself, right? So It probably would do a little better with an ice cube. Not to say it needs to be mellowed out, just might taste better cold. But it's smooth and it's not harsh and it's not super flavorful, but it's not offensive and stomach turning or anything like that. $7.99 a bottle. You probably would be satisfied with it, I guess. Jim Beam's going to be about $12.99 a bottle if you catch it on sale. Probably like $14.99 normal price. So this is a little bit more than half the price of Jim Beam, and you're probably getting about 60% of the flavor of Jim Beam. But that's it. That's the end of the review. I would buy it again, in theory at least, but I'll never get back to anything hardly. But I would recommend it if you want a really mild taste and blended whiskey, okay? But yet with no off, weird, or unusual, unpalatable, unfavorable flavors and aromas. I guess they don't let anything come out of their brewery that's ghastly. I mean, their distillery that's ghastly. They know people. I guess they know people are going to track it down and find out who makes it. They don't want to put their name on some junk. So that's it. It's just all about what you would prefer. Super mild, and super cheap. Super mild, you might like it. But if you're looking for something that's really bold in the flavor, in the aroma, bold in flavor, bold in body, this is really going to disappoint you. So it's just a personal preference issue at this point. Thank you for watching this video production, and be curious to see what you think about if you've ever had the Beam's 8-star.